Yo guys, what's going on? Today, I want to show you guys some of the best streaming settings for any computer out there. These are the personal settings that I use for my computer when I stream here on YouTube, and there's some awesome settings for any medium to high-end PC. I've made a couple videos in the past about how to record CSGO with OBS, and today I'm basically going to talk about that again, but from the more streaming aspect. Before we jump right into that though, I will quickly mention only a small percent of you guys who watch my videos are subscribed, so if you do enjoy this video, definitely make sure you guys smash that sub button, and let's get right into it. Real quick, I'd like to give a quick thanks to today's video sponsor, DMarket. DMarket is an all-in-one site for buying, selling, and even trading your CSGO, TF2, Dota 2, and Rust skins. DMarket is a trusted marketplace with great prices, low commissions on sales, face-to-face trading, lots of payment options for withdrawals, and has many active buyers and sellers. To start, simply click my link in the video description, sign in through Steam, and then input your Steam trade link. To deposit funds to your account, just click deposit, and then choose one of the various payment methods. Click to highlight all of the items that you want to buy, sell, or trade, and choose your action button at the bottom of the page below. It's as simple as that. Get started with DMarket now. Link in the description below. Alright, so now getting right into it. First of all, I'm going to start off by saying, make sure you download Streamlabs OBS. I will have a link to it down in the description below, but it's personally one of my favorite programs to use for streaming. You can stream directly from OBS itself, but I personally prefer Streamlabs, especially because it's much more built for streaming. You definitely want to download that. Again, link will be in the description below, and then begin to build your streaming setup and your stream theme. You guys can see mine right here. Mine's kind of been customized a bit. This is my just chatting screen. I also got my top donator screen, full screen of course, and then of course the starting, be right back, and ending stream. You don't have to create as an elaborate one as I've done here for mine, but definitely want to make something with a couple of different scenes so that you have something to use once you start streaming. Now, I will throw this into the video here just because I do make CSGO content and I know I'm going to get some questions about this. So if you are trying to record CSGO, you'll notice that if you do try to do it through a game capture, you can see if I do add source and then select game capture, add source again, you're going to see that if I tell it to capture a specific window and set it to Counter-Strike, nothing at all shows up. It's just going to continue showing my desktop. This is because of the trust mode update with CSGO. Unfortunately, game capture does not work. Of course, every other game does work with it. You shouldn't have any problems using game capture for any other game you want to play, but for CSGO, unfortunately, it just doesn't work. The only way you're going to be able to screen capture CSGO is by either using a video capture device, if you do have one of those, or by just strictly doing a display capture. If you're not sure how to do that, again, you're just going to go hit the plus button here and then select display capture. It's going to be right above game capture, add source again, and then you're going to select the display, of course if you do have multiple monitors, that you want it to record. Getting into the settings though, which all of you guys are here for, you want to come over here to the settings in the bottom left hand corner, and this page right here is going to open up. It should start you off on the general tab, and to be honest, you do not have to worry about anything here, but the first thing we're going to want to do is come down here to the stream tab. When you click on the stream tab, this is pretty much what it's going to look like, and here it's pretty straightforward. All you guys are going to do is make sure stream type is set to streaming services, and then select your service. If you're streaming on YouTube, of course, you're going to select YouTube/YouTube Gaming, but if you're streaming on Twitch, for example, you're going to select Twitch or any of these other services here that they offer. If you are streaming with YouTube though, this is pretty much what it's going to look like. You want to leave the server on primary YouTube ingest server and then find your stream key and paste it here. If you're streaming with Twitch, for example, I'll just show this because I know a lot of people are. Make sure the server is on auto, and then of course, just like with YouTube, you're going to put your stream key in right here. Now, the next couple of settings here we're going to take a look at is where everything starts to get a little bit complicated, so make sure you watch this part all the way through. We're going to first start off by going to the video tab over here, which is going to open up this page. Set your base resolution to whatever resolution your main monitor is running at. For example, mine is running in 1440p, so that's what I have it running in. If you're a 1080p user though, for example, because I know a lot of people out there will be, you're just going to go ahead and select 1920 by 1080. For output scaled resolution, this is pretty much what your stream is going to export as. If you're watching your stream, this is going to be the max resolution you can get. Right now, I have mine in 1080p, but if you're on a more budget computer, definitely make sure you put this down to 720p right here. Of course, 1080p is always going to be recommended, but again, if you do have a more budget PC or you're just not sure that your computer is going to be able to run a full 1080p stream, definitely try running it in 720p first. For the downscale filter here, I recommend actually putting this on bicubic, sharpen scaling 16 samples. This is a great option here for pretty much any PC, but if you are noticing your stream isn't running as smoothly, definitely drop it down to bilinear. Right now, I'm personally running CAZE just because I've tested it out on my computer and it does work with it without sacrificing anything else. So that's personally what I'm using, but I would recommend starting off with the 16 samples. For FPS type, make sure this is set to common, and for FPS value, set this down to 30. After you do all this, we're going to go ahead and move on to the output tab. Make sure the output tab is in the advanced setting, and we're gonna just be focusing on this streaming tab right here. For your audio track, just leave that the way it is. And for your encoder, this is where you're gonna have to know exactly what's in your computer to choose what's gonna be best for you. Basically, the options that you have here are software X264, hardware NVENC, or hardware NVENC new. NVENC is pretty much for encoding through your GPU. So if you have a good GPU and you have some extra power you can push out of it, I would highly recommend suggesting hardware NVENC or hardware NVENC new. Both of those are gonna render and downsize your stream directly through your graphics card, so you don't have to do it through your CPU. It can cause your computer to run a little bit more smoothly, but depending on the game you're playing, it can sacrifice some FPS. If you don't have a good graphics card though, or you have a CPU that's way overkill, I would highly suggest running software 264 and just seeing how that runs. Personally, I have a pretty good NVIDIA graphics card, and streaming CSGO mainly, I'm not really using that much of it, so I do stream with the NVENC encoder, and personally, I'm using the one that doesn't say new on it, just because I've actually found that it works better for me. I would recommend trying both if you do have that NVENC option. Keep in mind that may not be there if you do not have an NVIDIA card, but if you do have an NVIDIA graphics card, definitely choose between one of those. For enforced streaming service encoder settings, make sure that is checked marked along with rescale output. Again, if your base canvas is anything above what your output resolution is, make sure that this is also selected to what we selected under the video tab here. Again, going back to the video tab, my base canvas is 1440p, but I'm going to be streaming in 1080p. So coming back over to the output tab, I have this also selected as 1080p here. Scrolling down to your rate control, this is basically going to control a little bit of the quality of your stream. I would recommend setting this to VBR here and setting your bitrate between 4000 and 5000. Now, of course, you guys can play around with this and see which values work best for you. I would recommend starting off between 2500 to 3000 if you know your internet's not as good or your PC is a little bit on the lower end. But if you find that your computer and your internet services are working perfectly fine together with those lower bit rates, you can slowly start to boost it up and just see how it works. I found my sweet spot is between 4000 to 5000, and that works really well for me. Continuing down the list here, keyframe interval, just leave that at 0. For preset, I would recommend max quality, but if you start to notice your computer isn't able to run a smooth stream, I would maybe bump this down to performance or max performance. You will lose a little bit of quality doing this, but it's definitely going to make your stream and your computer run a lot smoother. And then for profile, just go ahead and select high, GPU, leave it at 0, and max B frames at 2. Now that's pretty much all of the stream settings that I'm using and that I'm going to recommend to you guys today here. Of course, if you are streaming, besides configuring your whole stream theme setup and doing all of that, which I was showing you guys at the very beginning of the video, you also want to make sure that under the audio tab here, you do have your desktop audio and your microphone audio set correctly. And of course, as well, under the hotkeys tab, if you want to set hotkeys, you would do this here. And under advanced, I will mention this quickly, you want to make sure you do set your process priority to high. It's going to prioritize OBS over a lot of other programs on your computer, except for the main game that you're playing. This is super important because sometimes your computer will direct power away from OBS, which can cause your stream to lag or just drop frames in general. As for everything else here, you really don't need to worry about anything else. Definitely make sure if you are rendering with your GPU, you do have this selected right here, Force GPU as render device. It's going to help with forcing your GPU to do all of the rendering instead of mixing it between your graphics card and your GPU. And as for everything else here, this should be all the same for you. But one more thing I would definitely recommend doing is making sure low latency mode is enabled. Other than that though, once you guys are all done with those settings, go ahead and click done and you guys are all set to start streaming here. Those settings should work great for most computers out there. And again, definitely play around with it if you do experience some lag, or if your stream is running super smoothly, maybe you can even try bumping up the quality. It's a lot of experimenting, but these settings right here that I just showed you guys today are a great place to start. Anyway guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I hope this video will help some of you guys out there trying to stream. If it does though, definitely make sure you guys drop a like and smash that sub button if you are new. And with all that said, again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.